You ever had some stranger in golf shoes try to yank ribs off your smoker like he owned the place? Because that's exactly how my Sunday went down. Everything had started off perfectly. Blue sky overhead, the backyard filled with that slow smoke mesquite aroma, music humming in the background, kids laughing, neighbors lounging around with plates piled high. It was my annual summer barbecue, 5 years strong without a single issue. Not one. Then she showed up. Karen, the freshly elected HOA president. Tight-lipped, gripping her clipboard like a police badge, and absolutely convinced she was the sheriff of suburbia. She'd only lived here 6 months, but had already declared war on anything that resembled joy. Porch chairs? Violation. Kids sidewalk chalk? Graffiti. A dad hosting a community barbecue? According to her, that was an act of domestic chaos. I'd sent invites out early, kept the music respectful, organized all the parking, but none of it mattered to Karen. About an hour into the party, I spotted her on the sidewalk, arms folded, glaring so hard you'd think she was trying to set the brisket on fire with her eyes. I tried being nice, even offered her a plate. She snapped back, "You'll regret this." I figured she was just being her usual Karen self. But then they showed up. 3 guys I'd never seen before, khaki shorts, polo shirts, and cheap laminated badges that looked like they'd printed them at a gas station. They strutted in, with smug little smiles, like they'd just been promoted to colonels in some secret HOA army. "This is an unauthorized assembly," one announced. "You're in violation of HOA Article 5, subsection B." Another added, "I said, pretty sure Article 5 is about basketball hoops." But they didn't care about facts. One reached for my speaker cord. Another grabbed my smoker handle like it belonged to him. Marcus, my cousin, stepped forward, and suddenly it felt like the 4th of July was about to turn into WrestleMania right there on my lawn. And then Karen herself marched in behind them, like she was leading a raid. "As president, I'm enforcing an immediate shutdown. Or do I need to call the authorities?" I just smiled. "Please do." Because what she didn't know was that I had already called the police 10 minutes earlier, when I saw her 3 khaki henchmen heading toward my gate. And everything was on camera. When the first squad car pulled up, the air felt heavier. Not from the smoker, but from the tension wrapped around Karen's perfectly ironed blouse. Officer Ramirez stepped out, sunglasses on, calm, professional. "We got a call about a neighborhood disturbance." Karen practically waved her clipboard in his face. "Yes, I'm the HOA president. This man," she jabbed a finger at me, "is conducting an unauthorized event. Loud music, smoke, unregistered guests." Ramirez blinked. "Unregistered guests?" Karen huffed. "Per HOA policy, any event with more than 8 people must be formally approved." He bypassed the process. "And he's using an open smoker, a code violation." I said, "Actually, officer, the smoker's electric. No open flame. Music's under 65 decibels. No cars blocking anything. And every neighbor was invited. I'm the one who called you because these men trespassed onto my property and tried to damage my equipment." Ramirez raised an eyebrow. "Is that true?" Marcus stepped forward, arms crossed. "We've got video." And so I showed the doorbell cam footage, the khaki squad marching and uninvited, then the backyard footage. Them grabbing at the speakers, reaching for the smoker, knocking over corn trays. You could clearly hear Karen in the background yelling about enforcement action. Ramirez watched, lips tight as if he was trying not to laugh. Then he turned to the khaki crew. "Names?" One stammered. "We were authorized by the HOA president." Ramirez nodded slowly. "You do realize HOA rules are not law. You have zero authority to enter private property without consent. And this footage looks a lot like attempted vandalism, which is criminal." Karen turned beet red. That's incorrect. Section 3, line 7. Ramirez cut her off. Ma'am, your bylaws don't override trespassing laws. The atmosphere flipped instantly. Guests fell quiet. Karen's fake deputies started backing up, one even whispering, "Can I go now?" Ramirez told him. "No." Karen switched tactics. "You don't understand. This is a safety issue." But she had no idea what was coming next. A second cruiser arrived. Officer Delgado got the rundown, walked around my backyard, inspected everything, the smoker, the music, the layout, and said, "Smells amazing. And I see no violations whatsoever." That's when Karen snapped in the most spectacular way. "This is a setup," she screamed. "He staged the footage. He bribed people. Look how friendly they are with him. It's unnatural." The whole crowd exploded laughing. "Yeah," a neighbor yelled. "He bribed me with ribs." Even Delgado cracked up. "Ma'am," Ramirez asked, "do you have any evidence for these claims?" Karen held up her clipboard like it was Excalibur. "I have logs. Reports. He was disruptive before." Delgado raised an eyebrow. "You mean when he held a lemonade stand with his daughter? That one?" Karen stuttered. "Unauthorized vending." Ramirez sighed. "You brought unapproved individuals onto private property, attempted to forcibly shut down a lawful gathering, and are now making wild accusations with no proof." Karen tried to salvage dignity. It wasn't working. And then she said the craziest thing yet. "Well, if this is how you treat community leaders, maybe I'll sue the entire precinct." Delgado snorted. "Good luck with that," Ramirez told her calmly. "Ma'am, step away now or we'll escalate this." But Karen, oh Karen, she wasn't done. She marched into the middle of my backyard and declared, "If the authorities won't act, I'm filing a citizen citation. This barbecue is null and void under emergency HOA authority." Her deputies looked like they wished the earth would swallow them whole. Then she began recording everyone shouting, "You're all complicit in a code violation." Marcus stepped forward. "Lady, record my family again, and you'll find yourself dealing with something hotter than that smoker." Delgado had to step in. "Ma'am, shut the phone off. Now!" Karen, red-faced and shaking, pulled out a folded piece of paper and handed it dramatically to Ramirez. "This is a formal cease and desist." Delgado opened it, took one glance, and nearly doubled over laughing. It was a Word document titled, "Emergency HOA Order Number 1. Backyard Barbecue Shutdown Notice." Signed in Sharpie. President Karen. Ramirez stared at it, expression flat, then handed it back without comment. At that point, the whole backyard was in tears laughing. Even 70-year-old Dolores nearly dropped her sweet tea. Ramirez delivered the final blow. "Ma'am, this is your last warning. Leave. Now! Or face disorderly conduct charges." And at long last, she backed away. Karen marched her pretend deputies down the street, ranting about lawsuits and fake cops. Marcus raised a drink and toasted, "To ribs, respect, and real authority." The crowd roared. The officer stayed for brisket. And later, the footage hit our neighborhood Facebook group and went absolutely viral. Karen hasn't shown her face since. Because when you try to deploy fake HOA soldiers to shut down a barbecue and the cops end up laughing at your imaginary authority, well, no rulebook in the world can save you from that. If you enjoyed seeing Karen get grilled harder than the burgers, smash that like button, drop your wildest neighborhood story in the comments, and subscribe. Because trust me, this isn't the last HOA disaster you'll hear from me.